Most people believe debt is something to avoid at all costs. But what if I told you that the right kind of debt could actually help you build real wealth? It might sound surprising, but not all debt is created equal. Some debt can quietly hold you back for years, while other debt can actually move you forward faster. The truth is, many people can't spot the difference between the two, and that's exactly where they get stuck. In this video, we'll break down the real difference between good debt and bad debt, and explain why most people completely misunderstand how it works. Make sure you stick around until the end, because I'll also share a powerful bonus tip that could save you thousands and completely change the way you see debt. 1. What is debt? Let's keep it real simple. Debt, at its core, means borrowing money from a lender, like a bank, credit card company, or even a friend, with a promise to repay it later, usually with extra interest. That interest is the cost of using someone else's money, and it's how lenders make a profit from the loan. Now, that might sound straightforward, and it is, but don't let the simplicity fool you. Understanding this concept is the foundation of smart money management. You see, debt isn't automatically bad. It's not the enemy. It's a financial tool. And just like any tool, it depends on how you use it. Use it wisely, and it can help you unlock opportunities. Use it carelessly, and it can lead to stress, struggle, and financial setbacks. The key is knowing when to borrow, how much to borrow, and most importantly, why you're borrowing in the first place. Because the truth is, debt can either build your future or break it, and that's what we're about to uncover in the next sections. 2. What makes debt good? And why it's not always obvious. Not all debt is harmful. In fact, some debt can actually work in your favor. Good debt is the kind that helps you grow financially by either increasing your income or boosting your long-term net worth. But here's the catch. Good debt doesn't always look good up front. Sometimes it feels like a burden in the short term, but pays off massively over time. Let's say you take out a student loan to study a high-demand skill that leads to a well-paying career. Yes, it's a loan, but it's also an investment in your future earning power. Or consider a mortgage on a home that increases in value over time. You're not just buying a place to live. You're building equity and owning an asset that appreciates. Even business loans, when used strategically, can be considered good debt. If that borrowed money helps you launch or scale a profitable business, the return can far outweigh the cost of borrowing. The key difference is purpose. Good debt is tied to something that has the potential to grow in value or generate reliable income in the future. And here's where most people go wrong. They focus only on the monthly payments, not the long-term return. But good debt is always measured by what it brings back to you, not just what it takes from you. So, before you borrow, always ask, will this debt move me forward financially, or just hold me back later? 3. The danger of bad debt. It's more common than you think. Bad debt is the kind that takes money out of your pocket without ever bringing anything back. It's used to buy things that quickly lose value and do nothing to grow your financial future. This includes things like racking up credit card debt on clothes, electronics, or vacations, or taking out personal loans for items that offer no return, just short-term satisfaction. Another common trap? High-interest car loans for luxury vehicles that lose value the moment you drive them off the lot. You're left with a depreciating asset and a growing pile of payments. The real danger with bad debt is that it's easy to justify in the moment. It feels good now, but it robs your future self in exchange for that temporary relief or excitement. And once you start relying on this type of borrowing, it becomes a habit that can lead to constant financial pressure, rising stress, and a never-ending cycle of debt repayment. Over time, this kind of debt shrinks your savings, limits your freedom, and makes it harder to invest in what truly matters. So anytime you're about to borrow money, ask yourself one simple question. Is this debt helping me build something or just helping me spend faster? 4. Why most people get debt completely wrong. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people were never taught how debt really works. Not in school, not by their parents, and definitely not by the banks handing out credit. So what happens? They swipe the card, sign the loan, and worry about the consequences later. They believe debt is just a normal part of life, something everyone has, so it must be okay. But what they don't realize is that debt without a purpose can quietly drain their future. Even high earners fall into this trap. They make good money, but they're always stuck in payments, never getting ahead, and it's not because they're irresponsible. It's because no one ever showed them the difference between debt that builds and debt that breaks. This mindset, spend now, deal with it later, is one of the biggest reasons why so many people stay broke, no matter how much they earn. The first step to escaping that cycle? Learning how to use debt wisely, not just emotionally. 5. Real-life scenarios. Which debt would you choose? Let's imagine this. You're offered 2 loan options. The first is to finance the latest iPhone, even though your current phone still works fine. The second is to take a course that helps you learn a high-demand skill and boost your income by 30% over the next year. Both require borrowing money, but only one of them offers something back in return. That iPhone? It loses value the moment you open the box. It's exciting today, but in a year or two it becomes just another outdated device. The course, on the other hand, opens the door to more job opportunities. It gives you knowledge that can continue to grow your income for years. So which one is good debt? Which one is bad? When you look through the lens of long-term value, the answer becomes crystal clear. Good debt supports your future, while bad debt satisfies a short-term want. And this is the kind of decision people face every single day, sometimes without even realizing it. Whether it's upgrading a gadget, booking a vacation, or signing up for an online class, the smartest move is to always ask yourself, will this improve my financial position down the road? Because when you view debt as a tool, not a ticket, you start choosing what truly adds value to your life. 6. The psychology behind debt. How marketers keep you in bad debt. Debt isn't just about numbers. It's deeply tied to how we think, feel, react, and companies know this better than anyone. They spend millions studying your behavior, designing ads that trigger emotions and create the illusion of urgency. You'll hear things like 0% interest for 12 months, no payments until next year, or the ever-popular buy now, pay later offer. And on the surface, these deals seem harmless, even smart. But what they're really doing is lowering your resistance to spending. They remove the pain of parting with money, so you act quickly without fully thinking it through. It's not just marketing, it's psychology. They know that if they make it feel easy, you'll say yes more often, even to things you don't actually need. And once you commit, you're locked in. Now you're making payments for months on something that might not even hold its value anymore. This is how people end up in bad debt without realizing it. Not because they're reckless, but because they're being emotionally influenced and financially distracted. When you understand the mental tricks behind these offers, you can pause, think clearly, and protect yourself from unnecessary debt. Because at the end of the day, easy isn't always smart, and fast decisions often lead to long-term consequences. 7. How to use good debt the smart way. Good debt only stays good when you know how to manage it wisely, and that starts with having a clear, intentional plan before you borrow a single rupee. First, always understand your return on investment, or ROI. If you're borrowing money, ask yourself, how much value will this create in return? If the answer is unclear or uncertain, you may need to reconsider. Next, borrow with a specific purpose in mind, not just because it's convenient. Whether it's for education, real estate, or a business, make sure the debt is tied to something that builds future value. Be careful not to over-leverage yourself. Just because someone offers you more money doesn't mean you should take it. Only borrow what you can realistically manage and repay without stress, and never skip the fine print. Always read the loan terms, interest rates, and repayment timelines, because those small details can make a big difference later. When you follow these principles, debt becomes less of a burden and more of a strategic financial tool. It helps you grow, build, and move forward, instead of pulling you back. Remember, good debt is only powerful when used intentionally. It's not about access. It's about smart, calculated use. 8. Quick checklist. Is it good debt or bad debt? Not sure whether a loan is worth it? Here's a simple checklist you can use to make smarter borrowing decisions every single time. First, ask yourself, will this debt help me make more money in the long run? If it doesn't create income or long-term value, it's a red flag. Next, think about your personal growth. Will this loan improve my skills, knowledge, or career opportunities? Debt tied to growth is often smarter than debt tied to lifestyle. Then, be honest with yourself. Can I afford the monthly payments without stress? If those payments would stretch your budget thin, it might be better to walk away. Also, look closely at the interest rate. Is the cost of borrowing fair and reasonable, or will it grow faster than your ability to repay? Finally, ask the big question. Does this loan fit into my overall financial goals, or is it just a quick fix for a short-term want? If you find yourself saying no to most of these, chances are you're dealing with bad debt. And the sooner you identify it, the easier it is to avoid the trap. Because good financial decisions don't start with emotion. They start with clarity. 9. Bonus tip. The 30-day rule, and it actually works. Before taking on any new debt, try the 30-day rule. It's a simple way to avoid emotional, costly decisions. When you feel the urge to borrow for a phone, trip, or course, wait 30 days. No action, just time to think. Ask yourself, do I truly need this? Will it add long-term value? If the answer is still yes after 30 days, and it fits your budget, then move forward. If not, you've just saved yourself from unnecessary debt. This pause can save thousands, reduce regret, and help you borrow with purpose. It's more than a rule. It's a habit that transforms how you spend. Final thoughts: that stick debt isn't always the enemy. It's how you use it that shapes your financial future. Used wisely, debt can open doors, create growth, and move you closer to your goals. Used poorly, it can hold you back for years, no matter how much you earn. The key is knowing the difference between good debt and bad debt. One builds your life, the other quietly breaks it down. You don't need to fear debt. You just need to understand how to control it. Because once you do, you're no longer trapped by it. You're in charge of it. So if this helped you rethink debt, like the video, subscribe for more, share it, and take control of your financial future today. Thanks for watching.